You brought this upon yourself now. Now I'm wearing a cutoff shirt.
Okay, well, I'm wearing a Christmas / summer shirt, so it's good for all times of the year. Especially because I don't give a shit.
These are good for all times of the year. You know what I'm fucking saying?
You know what also is good of all time? Games. Games are also good at all times of the year. And this
Yeah, I've
is
played them.
our video about those games that we have played since quarantine started.
Did you just do the intro?
Yeah, I did. That's
What
how you
the
do
fuck?
it.
We're into content already.
This is Back Log
Wow.
Banter, and we do not care. All right? The intro starts when it wants to start.
In Back Log Banter, we just fucking flow with the rolling of the tide. You know, we seance with the moon, and we figure out when you're full, when you're empty, when are the tides going up, and when are they going down.
My friends and I did a demon summoning ritual. A demon summoning ritual on the night of the full blood moon a couple years ago. We went to a gazebo in a park and drew a pentagram on the floor and lit candles and stuff. Nothing happened. It was kind of
I once made a pentagram on my dining room floor in electrical tape, and then put Star Fox and
I've seen
retro
that, yeah.
games at all the points of the pentagram, and then played DK bongos in the middle.
Yeah.
And then I ripped the electrical tape off the floor, and it left the pentagram still.
But other than that, we're talking about games. We're talking about video games that we played since quarantine started, which, in my personal opinion, in my thinking of how quarantine works, that means when Animal Crossing came out, basically.
We are talking about folks, let me lay down the ground rules for you. Today, Tucker and I are going to tell you our top 10 favorite games we've played since being stuck in quarantine. Because by the time you see this video, we will both be in college, practicing social distancing, practicing proper hygiene, but we will not be at our homes anymore. So this video is going to talk about our top 10 favorite games, basically from March until now. And keep in mind, we didn't have to play these games for the first time this year. They didn't have to come out. In 2020, these are just the 10 games we played during quarantine that were our favorites. So keep that in mind. Literally anything is on the table. Elmo's Counting Adventure.
There's not much on this table, but there's a lot on the metaphorical table.
See, if I pin my camera down, you'd see my exercise shorts, but I want to keep up the illusion that I'm not wearing pants, so I'm not going to break that fourth wall.
Cool. Good. All right. You know what? I'm going to start off because I want to get this video going more than you do. Okay. So we're going to slap that wonderful game. You all know that we talked about, because this video we got so many views. Grounded. You all watched our Grounded discussion. That is my number 10 game from quarantine that I've played. I had a very good time with that game. Actually, check the card right above my beautiful head. I learned how to add cards to YouTube. So like in the slot, I don't know if that works, but Grounded is a game that is really fun. You can check out the video for more information on that, but it's in the pre-access right now. So it kind of doesn't count. And if I were to, I actually can't really go down another one after that, but it's a fun game. I recommend it.
Well, after that very robust analysis, I'll share my number 10. My number 10 is also for a 2020 game. This is for a little game from .emu. My 10th favorite game that I've played in quarantine is Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4 is a really cool, retro-inspired beat-em-up. Now, keep in mind, the beat-em-up genre is not something I'm really familiar with. And I've never been a Sega bro, if you will. So Streets of Rage always eluded me.
Is anyone these days? Is anyone a Sega bro these days?
In our age bracket, probably not. But hopefully Streets of Rage 4 makes some more Sega bros. Because this, I think, is on the level of quality as Sonic Mania. This really is a lovely game that I think has excellent animation, excellent visual style, kick-ass music, really punchy and grimy combat that feels great to execute. It's got a great risk versus reward system with its special meter, where you can burn your special meter to use a powerful attack, but doing so takes out your health. And then if you keep hitting combos without getting hit, you can regen that health. So it's a game about precision and strategy, and it just feels really empowering when you get on a roll. So my number 10 game, quarantine, Streets of Rage 4.
All right, let's continue this steamroll of 2020 games, just pushing through our top 10s with another game that the video we already recorded. It's not out yet, By the time this video is out, you will have seen it. Hopefully, it's getting good views. I'm predicting in the future that this video is going to get good views. It's coming out on my birthday, which is going to be a little while after or before this video comes out. And that game is...
Unfortunately, it's probably Carrion, right?
Yeah, Carrion. All right. This is a really wonderful example of the indie game genre. Just quit your quotes. All right, we're doing my top 10. All right, it's a wonderful example of the indie game community coming together on something that is creative, take a spin on a classic genre that has kind of been overflowing the last few years with great content in Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight and the Ori series. But Carrion does something different with its combat and its exploration and controls. And it really was a fun time that I can recommend to everyone, especially if you have Xbox Game Pass, which right now is $1 for the PC version, which is what I played it on. And I hope you give it a try. It's a great indie game that doesn't overstay its welcome and has plenty of great ideas, wonderful visuals, great soundtrack, awesome animations, and just really fun game to play.
I can't segue out of that saying how much I liked it because I actually really hate that game, but I can segue this way. I've got another Devolver game to talk about here at number 9, and that is Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout.
Interesting. Only at number 9.
Only at number 9 right now. I played some really fucking great games during quarantine, which is more a testament to the games above it and not a testament to Fall Guys, because Fall Guys is a wonderful little online multiplayer title that takes the battle royale genre and actually does something fresh with it and wacky. This is a very zany game, a very chaotic game, a game that's a lot about mechanical skill, but also has enough luck elements to make it feel fun and takes away, the pressure of playing competitively. It's a great game to hop into. Tucker and I play it together. I would say quite often, but as of the time of recording, the game came out yesterday, so we haven't yet played a ton of it. But I
played a bunch today, actually. I played a bunch in two different sessions today, so I've been having a good time with it.
I mean, I think we can both attest to the fact that even in our short, for me, around like probably 5 hours of playtime and you a little bit more than that, that's just a wonderful game. And I'm really glad that Devolver picked this up and plopped it into my PS4. So that's my number 9.
All right, moving on to number 8. I have to skip to that being Elder Scrolls v Skyrim and Gone Home, because I played those before quarantine. This is on my ultimate top 10 games I played in 2020 list, giving you a little bit of a tease towards what might be coming on our ultimate 2020 games of the year. Although these will likely be pushed down. This is obviously first half of the year nonsense. There's plenty of games still to come. So moving past those two, we get to another wonderful indie darling, World of Goo by 2D Boy.
Okay.
A game that originally came out on the WiiWare, which I never used WiiWare, so I was not familiar with this game, but I downloaded it off of the Switch eShop after playing Little Inferno, which I absolutely loved. And if I
great fucking game
replayed that game this year, that would be on my top 10. But carries over the aesthetic from, well, I guess Little Inferno would have carried over the aesthetic from this, but anyway, this company that makes these games, they were called 2D Boy. I think they've changed to Tomorrow Corporation. I am not really familiar with how the growth of that company has changed, but they have this wonderful aesthetic, sort of Tim Burton-esque and very simplistic, with sort of sense of dark humor and overall arching of important themes based around simple gameplay mechanics. And World of Goo has this really satisfying click. You build these structures out of goopy materials, and you have to either go fast or build solid structures to reach certain things. There's a lot of variation in gameplay mechanics. Each level sort of has its own theme. The music is really good. There's one in particular music that I can't remember the name of the song, but it sounds like a Superman theme almost. It's really epic. Oh, hey, there's a premonition and made you wear that shirt. But it really is a fun game. It holds up really well for a game that's old. It's great on the Switch eShop. The motion controls on the Joy-Con actually work really well. If it gets desynced, you just press the plus or minus button. You set it down for a few seconds, pick it back up. It's centered and it works perfectly. So motion controls, touch controls, either way, it works great. And it's just a really fun game that holds up even though it's over 10 years old.
Yeah, I've actually never played World of Goo, but I do love Little Inferno, so I actually want to check that out sometime. Now it's on Switch. I mean, it's been on Switch for fucking 3 years, but now that it is on Switch, I might check it out. But I'm too busy playing my number 8 to be playing World of Goo, and that's Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is a game that I tried to play a long time ago. I got sidetracked by. I really made it. I checked my fucking play log. I made it 20 minutes into it, then I got distracted by something. So when I got home, I really sat down and cranked up Metroid Fusion, and it's a lovely game. Metroid Fusion, I think, sets a new bar for aesthetics. Yes, for Metro for 2D Metroid. It's actually, I mean, other than Samus Returns, it's one of the newest 2D Metroids. Okay, the point is, it sets a high bar. How about for ambiance, atmosphere, aesthetics in a Metroidvania? I think the design of the combat, the bosses, is really the only place they got let down. But the design of the combat, the design of the map, the way everything flows into each other, the storytelling with Adam, everything in Metroid Fusion coalesces for me in an experience that's very fun and combines the more obtuse, adventure-heavy aspects, something like Super, with some more story elements and some more action elements that I think creates, pun fucking intended, a fusion of the best aspects of Metroid games. And it's just tense. The SAX parasite, when you're so weak that you can't touch it yet, and you're crawling through shafts trying to avoid it, it's a sort of tension that I didn't even feel evoked in Zero Mission when you're just in the Zero suit. I really think that Metroid Fusion is an achievement, and I really cannot wait for another proper 2D Metroid game that doesn't go backwards to remake old games, but pushes the series forwards and it iterates upon what Metroid Fusion did.
As someone who's unfamiliar with the Metroid series almost entirely, actually, I've dabbled in the original Metroid on the NES Online app.
If you could play one, that's the fucking worst possible one you could have
played. I just wanted to try it, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there were I mean, I knew that there were so little 2D Metroid games, but I didn't know that really Samus Returns is essentially the only modern one. Because this game came out when you were 1 year old. Metroid Fusion came out when you're 1. So yes. New is those are the thickest air quotes known to man. But you know what else is thick with 3 C's?
Twintel.
Well, okay, that goes with that. But the bodies of the wonderful Mighty Bean-esque Fall Guys. All right, this game has
we're talking Fall Guys again.
Shot past the other 2 indie games that I was just talking about. Well, Grounded's not indie, but Carrion and Roll of Goo shot past to Fall Guys, which I am giving a recency bias because I am riding the high the last few days, and it is definitely a game that we'll have to see if it holds up over time, because it's a game that is very quick round-wise and might not hold my interest for very long, but at least at the moment, and that's when I'm recording this. Recording this at this moment. So at this moment, it's my number 6. You kind of talked about it. I was playing it a lot more today. Didn't get to play much of it yesterday when we recorded our Fall Guys first impressions, which is not doing very well. If you're watching this video, go back and watch our Fall Guys first impressions.
It's in the card that allegedly Tucker knows how to use.
Yes, another card up here. I have no idea if I'm making the right shape for this to fit in, but I guess there's a box above me, so I look like an idiot, but up there somewhere. But from what I played again of Fall Guys today, I noticed there's really is a lot more to this game than I thought. Every play session or so, I noticed a couple more mini games, so that's exciting to know that there's more to the game than what I put in my opinions when we did the Fall Guys first impressions, although those were first impressions, so that makes sense. And I'm interested to see how they continuously update the shop, what mini games they add. The Twitter account has been so much fun to follow and keep up with. And they did make a tweet yesterday referencing Frieza from Dragon Ball, while also simultaneously announcing the fact that there will be new skins, new games, new modes to the game that are super secret surprisey. And I'm very interested to see how this game grows and evolves, because it is so ridiculously popular. Thumbs up to the Fall Guys Twitter, who got verified. They're verified before Bill Trinan, which is weird to me.
Very weird.
That Bill Trinan is not verified. But they also have reached like 200,000 followers on that account, and like almost 2 million unique players on the game in the first day. So props to you, Devolver. Props to you, Mediatonic. You made a great game.
Sakurai also isn't verified, and there's an account called like Sora Sakurai with 2 eyes that posts these just heinously inappropriate Smash Brothers screenshots, but since neither account's verified, it's really easy to confuse them, which is one of my favorite and least favorite things on the internet. But you want to know what's one of my favorite games of fucking 2020? In the number
5.
7?
7? What?
6?
What?
6.
No, it's not. Wait. What?
6.
9,
Number
8,
6.
7. No, I just did my number 7. Wait. 10, 9, 8, 7. I just did my number 7. I just did
I'm
my because this is
promising
your number
you.
7.
No, I'm promising you I'm doing my number 6.
All right. You know what? Whatever.
The point is this game transcends time, transcends numbers. It's Halo Combat Evolved. Much like Grounded and some of the other games we've talked about, up in the cards, there's going to be a link to our Halo Combat Evolved discussion where Tucker and I went really deep into that game. What I'll say here is that Halo Combat Evolved is a timeless shooter that puts the priority and gameplay agency on different facets of the shooter experience than you expect out of a modern game. It's not a cover shooter, right? It's not a looter shooter. What it is just a really well-designed and choreographed and communicated shooter that's all about mechanics and about projectile enemies that allow you to move a lot. It's a game a lot about movement. It's a lot about chaining kills together. It's a lot about using the environment to your advantage. It's just a lot more about freedom of player expression and how you beat a level compared to a lot of shooters nowadays. Even though I do love a lot of modern shooters, I think there's just something so timeless about the way that Halo Combat Evolved has such a different design philosophy. More on that in the cards. It's my number 6 so far of quarantine.
Moving on to something very different. A game that I was not familiar with until I started getting into a little show known as Dragon Ball Z Kai.
What the fuck are you about to talk about?
I became a Dragon Ball fan
randomly, by the way.
No, okay. I'd been watching the original Dragon Ball for a while. I finished it over quarantine. I finished like the last 50 episodes or something like that. I started getting into Z Kai, and Kai has been fantastic. I watched like 80 episodes of that. And I was looking on the eShop one day, and I was like, I like Dragon Ball. There's a Dragon Ball game that's supposed to be very, very good, and that is Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters is one of the best animated games that I've ever seen. It completely takes the anime style and puts it into a fighting game. Crazy particle effects, tons of characters, especially including all the ridiculous amount of DLC characters that cost way too much and the absolutely ludicrous amount of DLC that I personally have not purchased because I'm fine with the base game. But what I have played of that game, which isn't a ton, but I would like to get into it when I have the ability to play with friends. Quarantine has sort of, snuffed that. But playing with friends will be really fun, but there's tons of modes. There's online, there's a mediocre story mode, but that's not what we're in for. Messing around with the characters, seeing their moves, how it ties into the show with what I've seen. I'm getting a lot of the references. There's you can go train at King Kai's little planet, and you can go do the Budokai tournament and all sorts of stuff that ties into the games. And I'm finding that really fun. And I definitely need to play more of it. It's a game that I don't think I'll ever be competitive at because I'm not a competitive person and especially not good at fighting games. But it's definitely a fun game to play. Even if you are a casual player, there is options to give you to play with simpler controls and things of that nature. But I've had a great time with it, and I recommend it. It goes on sale quite often. I think it's actually on sale on the PlayStation Store at the moment. Which doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I just realized that.
Weeks after now.
Right now it's on sale. So if you are watching this in the yeah.
Now while you try to figure out the fucking time paradox that Tucker's put you into, if you need to work your brain in a different way, how about you check out my next fucking game? Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics. Clubhouse Games is a weird game for me because I thought it was shovelware when it got announced. And then I learned a little bit more about its lineage, and then to me it just seemed like a generic collection of real-world classic games. But then I got my hands on it because one of the most sucky parts of quarantine is that my girlfriend and I are currently quarantined on opposite sides of the country. So we've been having plenty of virtual dates, and she's got a Switch. We've been playing a lot of different games together, but one game we hadn't played together was Clubhouse Games because neither of us had it. And I knew that this was a great multiplayer experience. Yeah, it would do it, wouldn't it? But I heard from a lot of people that it was a great multiplayer experience. I saw it got surprisingly good reviews, good buzz. So I just decided, you know what? It's a $40 game. I've got some eShop credit. I'll get us both copies of it. If it's fun, it's fun. If not, whatever. What it is an excellently curated package of... It's hard to call it a minigame package because it's hard to call a game like chess a minigame. What's here is actually very deep, even though it might not appear that way because the package itself is just a compilation of these games. There's not a lot of connective tissue, but what there is incredibly polished, and there's absolutely no way you can hop into Clubhouse Games and not find something that's going to appeal to you. My girlfriend and I have been having a great time because it has a wonderful online suite. There are a couple games you can't play, but for the most part, I think this is one of Nintendo's best online experiences. So I have just really been enjoying Clubhouse games. It's one that snuck up on me. It's one that I didn't expect to enjoy as much, but it's easily one of my favorite games Nintendo's put out in 2020, and I think absolutely worth your time. If you wrote it off initially like I did, give it a shot at $40. I think it well justifies the price. So Clubhouse games, I dig it. I dig it a lot.
All right, let's keep in that Nintendo casual game market with something that is in a different genre but fulfills that.
Wii Music.
Not quite. You're close. It's in a different genre, but it fulfills what Nintendo was sort of getting at in terms of reaching a larger market, which is puzzles. Puzzles for the casual market in the wonderfully fantastic Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask on Nintendo 3DS. All right. I have been a Layton fan since I was a kid. I got Curious Village when I was one of my first games on my DS, and I couldn't pass like the fox and the sheep puzzle where you got to go across the lake. I couldn't figure that one out. I was like 8, I was an 8. So I sold my copy of Curious Village. Many years later, I was gifted a couple different Layton games, and my mom got me a copy of Miracle Mask for my birthday. I dabbled in it, but I didn't really play too much because once again, I was stupid and I'm bad at puzzles. But I've recently played through Curious Village last year, I think, and I played a little bit of Diabolical Box. And I'm thinking, all right, Miracle Mask, I had you. You've been sitting in my 3DS case for a while. I'm just going to blast through it. And that's what I did. I got obsessed with this game when I played it. I played it straight through in like 3 or 4 days, and it was just a ton of fun. The Layton games have a ton of wonderful puzzles, obviously, but the draw for me is in the characters, the beautiful animated cutscenes. It has fully rendered anime cutscenes to build the story, fully voiced characters. Luke, Layton, Emmy, and the characters that are specifically in this game are wonderfully fun. They have great back and forth. They have history that if you've played the other games, you'll recognize. They have plenty of references to the older games as well. And the puzzles in this game are just fantastic. The only problem this game has is a couple sections where they try to deviate from the normal gameplay by giving you a couple sort of action segments, and there's a dungeon crawler sort of 2/3 way through, which is not great because that game is not designed to be a dungeon crawler. But overall, this is a wonderful package with a really compelling narrative and mystery, lots of memorable characters and locales. The town that you, good Lord, what's the town called? It's a city in the desert. Maybe I'm not
Egypt.
selling it as it's
Cairo.
Close enough. But anyway, I kind of just ruined my own sell of this game. But it really is a fantastic game. And if you're at all interested in trying out some brain teasers, puzzles combined with a fantastic story, wonderful characters, beautiful animation, give it a shot. It's kind of old. It's kind of obscured. Not many people talk about Layton. Layton's personally one of my characters that I want in Smash the most. I think
I do too.
Professor Layton. The music, oh God, the music is so good. But I highly recommend this game. And the fact that I've been glowing so much about this game is a testament to how fantastic the top 4 are going to be. So get hyped.
Now, if you want a puzzle game, but you want something that's not a puzzle game, check out Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure. That's not my next game. I haven't played Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure for fucking a long time, but that's a wonderful game. That's just reminiscing about that man's nice mustache and those nice hybrid gameplay mechanics. But that's besides the point. But we are going to talk about a genre that I don't like next, which might be a little bit confusing, but that's why this game charts so highly. My 5th favorite game is a game in a genre that I hate. We're going into the realm of the Japanese role-playing game for my next game, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake is the first JRPG, Pokemon and Fire Emblem notwithstanding, that I've ever completed. Final Fantasy VII Remake is an intoxicating blend of one of the most empowering and interesting combat systems I've ever seen, where it melds together real-time hack and slash elements with time-freezing turn-based mechanics. It blends that into a narrative that is genuinely compelling and genuinely morally challenging, with characters that feel larger than life and fun, with locations that are absolutely iconic, in a package that is completely unforgettable. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a triumph. The last 2 hours of the game don't make sense, but when the first 33 of it are so good, I can wipe those last 2 hours right off the map. Because Final Fantasy VII Remake is my favorite Japanese role-playing game of all time. Outside of Pokemon Fire Emblem, because I think that those are separate beasts.
Yeah.
But my boy Cloud, my boy Tifa, my boy Barrett, fucking love them. I fucking love this game.
That's a game that I personally don't have I hadn't had any interest in. I'm willing to give it a shot. I know it's a kind of game that will go on sale for dirt cheap during the PlayStation holiday sale, because that's usually how those sort of games go. But I'm definitely willing to give it a shot. It definitely sounds like more than I'm expecting out of it. I'm pretty turned off by the fact this is only a chunk of the story, and that I haven't have to pay another $60 for the next part if I get hooked. But
it is. Well, I mean, the one thing I will say is but it does wrap up. There is a self-contained story in here, and when you play it, you'll see. It's less, I think, of a part one than a complete Midgar narrative with a cliffhanger, because this is not the Final Fantasy VII story from 1998, as I've been told a bajillion fucking times. So take that as you will. And there's a demo on PSN.
Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll give that a try. I've currently got the Avengers beta downloading on their PlayStation 4, which I'm very excited for. I have my GameStop code beautifully highlighted by the wonderful employee that highlighted it.
They like to highlight the receipts at GameStop.
Aside from that, I was digging around on the interwebs as I do to find the name of the town from Professor Layton and American Mass that I've forgotten. It's Montedor. I was thinking L'Age d'Or, which is the name of a very old Louis Buñuel film. But I realized why I got that mixed up in my head. But unrelated to Louis Buñuel or Professor Layton, we have another puzzle game. I would not consider myself a puzzle game fan, but apparently
I don't think you fucking talked to me about puzzle games other than today.
This game consumed my life. All right, this isn't the craziest gameplay. It isn't the most wonderful graphics. But I sat there into the wee hours of the morn for multiple weeks with so many puzzles to complete in Picross S4 for the Nintendo Switch. All right, Picross S4. I'd never played Picross before. Well, actually, that's not true. I had probably dabbled in Pokemon Picross on the Nintendo 3DS, which is a free-to-play game that has an energy system which is absolutely crap and defeats the purpose of playing Picross. But Picross S4 is a complete Picross package with many different game modes, a really satisfying control scheme, and just an absolutely ludicrous amount of stuff to do if you're into that. I got addicted to it. I never saw it or never tried before. I found out that I was interested in Picross by one of those dumb advertisements you see on Instagram where they give you like a crappy mobile game. And I'm like, all right, this one kind of looks fun. And then I downloaded it. I'm like, all right, this is fun. But you know what would be fun if I was playing an actual version of this game? So I went to the eShop. They have all 4 Picross S games on the Nintendo Switch. And I might go back and buy some others. But for Picross S4, there is a color mode. There's big puzzles. There's really hard ones for hardcore fans. And it's just, Picross is a simple concept with a lot of depth to it. And, I'm ranting and raving about essentially what boils down to a simple puzzle game. But I really did get into it a lot. It surprised me and blew me away in ways I was not expecting. And, I recommend it. It's one of my favorite games of quarantine and of this year.
I'm too fucking dumb for Picross, to be honest with you. But I'm not too dumb for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the next game on my list.
All right. Let's get one out
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think, is the best Mario Kart game. The only one that's close is Double Dash. But Double Dash, that's for, you gotta be in the right mood for Double Dash. Because Double Dash, like on a day where I'm feeling objective, is not very good. But on days when I'm feeling objective and feeling subjective, fucking Mario Kart Deluxe wins all the time because those mechanics are pristine. The package is full of content, and I've been playing a lot of it like Clubhouse games with my girlfriend online. We've been having a lot of fun not only with the races, but with battle mode. And battle mode, I think is what I want to highlight right here in particular, because battle mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think, is better than it's ever been. There's so many different modes that from the series past, but also new things like Renegade Roundup. So many options. It just offers such a fresh spin on Mario Kart, and the fact that battle mode works as elegantly as regular races do, I think, is testament to how good that game is mechanically. I really love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in any permutation. If it's battle mode, races, whatever, I think this is a crowning achievement for Nintendo. And while I cannot wait for Mario Kart 9 or Nintendo Kart, whatever that ends up being, and I do believe it is going to be on the Switch, it's going to be very hard to top the sheer polish in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So that's one of the games that I've played a lot of this year, and I'm almost up to 100 hours in it. Wow. I put like 150 into the Wii U version too.
Good Lord.
Fucking love me some Mario Kart 8.
Those are some impressive numbers. But there's a game that came out not too long ago that I've put even more hours than that into. And that
is this your number 3?
Is, of course, Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Holy shit. Okay.
All right. This game, honestly, I'm not trying to sound crazy, and you've heard this all over the internet, but it really did change the way that I play video games, and it changed the way I lived my life for the first few months of quarantine. Man, there's not much you can say about this game that hasn't already been said already, and I'm pointing at you through the internet, one co-host of Back Log Banter. Keep your fat trap shut, all right? Keep your trap shut during
all I'll say is there's going to be a card. I still don't believe that Tucker knows how to do cards, but there might be a card up there to a video called "Is This Game Overrated?" because I don't like it. But this is a video about celebrating things, so that's why I'm just gonna make my general position known and
make like a tree and get out of here. So let's talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons, which does have trees in it, incidentally.
Not here. Don't mind me.
All right. So while he's out in the wilderness, he's gone. We don't need to worry about him. But while he's gone, we're going to talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is a fantastically put together package with tons to do, a lot of great content, fun characters, beautiful visuals, and just an incredibly engaging gameplay loop where you can build up your own town from scratch. There's really satisfying crafting. There is, god damn, that is distracting. But, he's back. All right. But I mean, look, if you've been around on the internet while Animal Crossing New Horizons has been out, which is, as I said, kind of where I believe quarantine started, because the first day I had to be quarantined in my house, I bought that game. So really this started on that day for me, this whole COVID ridiculousness. But man, I put like 160 hours in that game. I played a little bit of New Leaf, as I talked about in the video. That is, again, I'm going to try to put the card twice. I don't know if that even works. But I really do enjoy this game. I can't wait to see more updates. I'm very excited for fall to happen. I have gone through and collected every single bug and every single sea creature, every single fish that has been available since launch. I love the museum in this game. It is so satisfying to fill out. The music in this game is incredible. I pop in a couple times a week, even when I'm not on that daily grind, to just run around, to soak in the atmosphere, to chat with my villagers who are like, where the fuck have you been? We thought you died. This is ridiculous. But I love all my villagers. I love my island. I'm very excited to see where this game goes in the future.
Well, it's not a game I particularly like a lot personally. It's a game that I not only have a massive amount of respect for, but it's one of the games, and as fucking dumb and corny as it sounds, it's a game that I'm glad exists, and I'm glad it released when it did. Because I think it was such a moment that turned into 4 months, where usually Nintendo has like a bubble where they get a couple days on social media where the games pop, and then there'll be our hardcore community still talking about them. But Animal Crossing fucking continues to dominate, and I just think that is incredible. And as someone who loves Animal Crossing but just can't bring themselves to love New Horizons, I love seeing my fucking baby boy series get this kind of glow up, if you will. My next game is one that's not anywhere near your list. That's The Outer Worlds.
Because I haven't played it. All right, that's not fair. I haven't played the game. I might enjoy it if I do.
Well, I was more saying that as a means of saying that this is kind of out of left field. Because this isn't the type of game I usually play. But when the Switch version came around, I was lucky enough to get a copy of it before release. And I was most interested to, see how it ran and see what the hubbub was about, because this was up for Game of the Year last year. But I wasn't expecting to fall in love with it and become addicted to it the way that I was. For me, The Outer Worlds is one of the finest examples of offering player agency I've ever seen. The amount of control you have over a quest is incredible. For instance, I was sent on a quest where I needed to get a new power converter for my ship so I could leave this planet. So I went to a town and asked the mayor for a power converter. He didn't have one. He said that he would have one for me, though, if I was able to free up some power from his power grid. To do so, I had to go to a breakout settlement that had left him and shut their power off. If I did that, there'd be enough power sapped out of the system so I could take the extra drive. Well, I get there and I have a conversation with the person running that town who tells me that they left because that last guy's a huge douchebag and he's working people into the ground. And he's a tycoon. He's not a good guy. So I had the option either of fighting my way back through him, taking the thing by force, keeping their power on, or just shutting their power off, saying, fuck it, going back, collecting my reward, getting out of there. Well, I sided with these people, and I went back, but instead of negotiating, instead of trying to be sneaky, I went in, and before the tycoon could give his big villain speech, I took out my ray gun and I turned him into a pile of ash. Literally. The amount of freedom you have over the quests to just kill quest givers if you want, to totally circumnavigate what you're supposed to do, to the level of freedom you have here, I really think is on the level of Breath of the Wild. And what's even more impressive about it is the way that this freedom is in the confines of a much more mechanically interwoven game. The dialogue trees, the way the quests interface, the loot systems, all of it is so wrapped up. So the fact that you can break it in such freeing ways made the adventure mine in a way that few adventures have felt like mine to this extent. I really think that The Outer Worlds is a triumph, and I cannot wait to play Avowed when that comes out, because Obsidian really cemented themselves as a team that is incredibly design focused, and what I look for in a game is good game design. So I fucking adore The Outer Worlds.
Much like Grounded, also from Obsidian Games.
True.
Well, let's move on to something that is in nowhere near the genre that you just mentioned, but in the same genre as a game that you did mention before. A little game called Metroid Fusion. This, of course, is the absolute, in my opinion, pinnacle of the Metroidvania genre. As someone who's not experienced the Metroid games, I cannot say for sure if it'll be knocked down. But holy fuck. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. By the time that this video will come out, you will have finished this game. We will have done a recording and reaction and discussion of this game, and that card will go up here. We're future-proofing this. But look, there's very few games that I have in my perfect games category. This I have tied up in my very small bubble of absolutely perfect video games. That being Minecraft, this, and my number one. Those are my top three in a little circle there, in a holy trinity. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a game that not only takes a game I absolutely fell in love with and considered one of the best games of all time before this, Ori and the Blind Forest, and blew it out of the water. In some ways, this is quite a lot like Last of Us Part 2, which I'm sure I brought up in the video that is in the card, but it's a lot like Last of Us 2 because Last of Us and Ori and the Blind Forest were two games that I consider to be the pinnacle of the video game industry. Yes, community, industry, whatever. And both of their sequels just made the first ones obsolete, mechanically, visually, storytelling-wise, in every aspect. And this game really is a game that pushes the boundaries of design, of visuals and music and storytelling all flowing together so well. The controls are incredible. The characters are so endearing. There's so many new mechanics that they layered on top of the first one. They fixed the combat from the first one. They listened to all the criticisms and just took it straight to the box. The only criticisms that I've seen of this game are technical issues. And I played this game way too long after lunch than I probably should have. But since the game released, all those problems have been fixed. There's not character pop out anymore. There's not mapped load times. There's nothing like that. this game is essentially flawless. There's so many interesting areas to visit. An incredible set of collectibles is the word I was looking for. There's so many ways you can customize your moveset and your play style, and takes the best elements from Hollow Knight, from Ori and the Blind Forest, from the Metroid series, and combines them with incredible visuals, a beautiful soundtrack by Gareth Coker. And Moon Studios has just blown the industry out of the water. And I really hope this game is up for Game of the Year again. I'm pretty sure the first one was in some places, but man, it really does deserve it. It's so different from everything else that has come out this year. We're in a year of Doom and Last of Us and Cyberpunk and Avengers that are all these, semi-open world shooter games. But this is so completely different, and it definitely deserves all the praise it's been getting. And it's a 10 out of 10 in my
book. Now we're going to talk about another 10 out of 10 next. We're going to talk. I have just put it out here on the line, right? These are all games I love, but the first and second places for me are my first and second favorite games of all time now. The first...
Essentially the same for me.
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
But the difference is my second favorite game of all time is a replay, because I've loved this game for years. But being in quarantine, I wanted something that made me feel good to play. And that's Star Fox 64. Star Fox 64 is my favorite Nintendo game. And Star Fox 64 previously would have been my favorite game of all time. What I love about Star Fox 64 is everything, but that's not very specific. So let me boil it down in a quick way. Star Fox 64 is the perfect gameplay experience. It's arcade action in a way that rewards precise play. It's all about reflexes and mechanics and about understanding the game and understanding how to play it well. It's about getting chain combos and about finding the secret exits and about knowing the maps and knowing the world of the Lilat system better than you know your own world. It's a game that encourages replays, and it's a game that encourages score chasing. It's a game I can run through in not very long at all, in an hour, 2 hours. But that just makes me want to keep hopping back in. Not only because that gameplay feels so good, because the controls are so precise, because the mechanics are so exacting, but because it has one of the best personalities of any video game. I love the visual design of not only Lilat, but the anthropomorphic characters. But I love the soundtrack, and I love the chatter between your pilots. Hearing Peppy hop on the comms to go, "Don't be a dink slip," and fucking slipping needing you to shoot someone off your back, and the banter between these four characters is so classic and so iconic, and it adds to the gameplay. Star Fox 64 understands it's a gameplay first experience, but what it has the fucking balls to do is create lore and characters and atmosphere that is just as compelling but doesn't take away. It plays second fiddle, but it plays that fiddle so fucking elegantly. So elegantly that everything about Star Fox 64 just meshes together and just works. And it's phenomenal, and it's as rock solid now as it was in the 90s. And play it on 3DS, play it on the original cart, you're going to have a fucking phenomenal experience. I prefer to play it on cart up on my TV. But Star Fox 64 is Star Fox 64 is Star Fox 64, however you play it. And if you're in that campaign and you're fucking kicking ass, or you're in that local multiplayer dogfights, Star Fox 64, in a word, is precise. It understands what it wants to be, and it nails it in a way that no Star Fox game, no matter how good it is ever going to top. Nothing is ever going to touch Star Fox 64, except for my number one.
Which, of course,
is your number one.
Is my number one as well. Because we both love this game more than we probably should. So we're going to change it up. We're mixing it up a little here. This is not a back and forth. We're not going to do our rant and our rant. No. We're bebopping this, getting straight into a meld of shared number one love towards the infinitely beautiful and incredible game, Naughty Dog's magnum opus, The Last of Us Part 2. This is a game I've thought a lot about since we recorded and uploaded our Last of Us Part 2 discussion, which
in
sort of was, yes, in the cards. We've got a lot of cards in this video, but it shows how much content we have put up since we started this. That was sort of our first discussion back from not recording anything ever since we put up a video last August, which was our last time. But Last of Us Part 2 sort of kicked us back both into wanting to discuss games, to starting this channel, essentially, on the run that has been on the past, essentially, month.
Yeah.
Our over hour long video is up in the cards, and we go into everything in detail there. But this game is so controversial. And I've noticed that the controversy has started to die down since the first few weeks this came out. And I feel like I see a lot more people recognizing the, in my opinion, objective quality that this game has and how much it pushes the video game industry in terms of, I just said these for Ori, but really this one takes the cake, is that in terms of in-depth storytelling that you can only do in a video game, that blows all other video game stories out of the water. In terms of facial animation and world design and gameplay mechanics mixing so well with the story, and cutscenes and gameplay flowing so seamlessly together, it's insane. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I struggle to put it at the number one spot because I do and always probably will believe that Minecraft is the most rock solid video game package of all time. And I'm that is a testament to how amazing this game is, in a entirely different genre, but it is the peak of the video game industry. I don't see anything else topping this year, next year, who knows? Something will eventually, but I hope not for a while, because I just want to sit and bask in the glory that is Last of Us Part 2. If you don't like this game, you can come at both of us. We'll both fight you on it, because we're both very passionate about how we feel about this game. I think it would be fun to have someone on who disagrees and sort of have a debate about it eventually. But I can't say much more. If you want really, really in-depth opinions, you can check out the card below. I'm tearing up thinking about this. I love this game so much. Game's been out long enough that I can completely say that Abby's section made the game for me. I vastly prefer Abby over Ellie. I love Abby's side characters. I love the locales you go to. But overall, the game is amazing. The Ellie parts are still great. Still fantastic.
The Last of Us Part 2 is my favorite game of all time. And some days I struggle to look at any individual aspect of The Last of Us Part 2 and say that's objectively the best the industry has to offer. But what I can never, ever come up with a counterpoint to is the way that this package comes together. And the way that the sum of its parts does more, I think, to push the medium of games forward than anything else ever will. The way its reprehensible story fundamentally changes the player's relationship to narrative and to gameplay, I think, is revelatory. I think that the depth of emotion and nuance in the storytelling is incredible. I think that it's impossible to start that game and not become lost in a world that is so horrifying, but has so many glimmers and colors of your own, not of your own world, but just your own life in it, that you can't immediately become inseparably attached to it. I think it is a story that I will never live through, but I will always recount in terms of its emotional beats, in terms of the way I can see parallels to it in my life, the way that anyone can see something in that story. Because it's a story about love, and it's a story about worth and value. And it's a game that doesn't deserve Game of the Year. It doesn't deserve Game of the Generation, Game of the Platform. It just deserves accolades for being bold. It undersells it to say this is the best game of the PS4 generation, because putting it up against something like Spider-Man is incomparable, because Naughty Dog is just operating on a level, in a plane, with rules that I've never seen before. This game might not be at the absolute cutting edge of sound or gameplay or visuals. There might be things either in terms of aesthetic quality or sheer fidelity that pass it, and they will with next gen. But nothing will ever pass the gut punch that Naughty Dog hits you with, and hits you with again and again for 35 hours. I cried like I've never cried playing a game. I put my controller down, I was horrified. Everything you do has weight. Everything you do matters. Not a single second of the game is wasted. Everybody involved, you can hear the passion in their performance. You can hear the passion in the way they talk about the games outside of the context of the game itself. Everything that Naughty Dog did here will be remembered, and everything here will be important for generations to come, because this industry and this medium is young. We're young in a way that narrative cinema isn't young, that narrative literature isn't young, that expressive art isn't young. But this is a turning point for video games. And Naughty Dog did it themselves. They fucking wrote the third-person action adventure playbook with Uncharted, and they iterated on it with 2 and 3 and The Last of Us and Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, and then they fucking trounced themselves. There is no better team in this industry than Naughty Dog. No one is ever going to surpass them. The Last of Us Part 2 is magnificent, and that's all I have to say.
That was really good. I think the greatest comparison I can make, and I say this as a person who absolutely loves The Last of Us, the first one. It's so hard to do games that are in the same series. you say Last of Us 1, that's what it's called though. You say The Last of Us, do you mean 2? Whatever. But that The Last of Us 1, in comparison to this, is a crayon drawing, and this is a full-blown painting. The Last of Us 1 is great. It is a fantastic game that also changed the face of video games, but I mean, really, this blows everything the first one did out of the water. It's a foundation, but this is where games are headed, and I'm very happy to be on what I see as the right side of history with this game, because I do see this being a game that is long remembered as something that changed the games industry and influenced everything to come. Whether or not the haters come around to it 10 years from now is obviously yet to be seen. Come back to this video in 10 years and give me a comment down below. But and comment Olimar's bulbous sniffer if you do come back 10 years
Please
from
do
now.
that.
But yeah, I loved your speech. That was fantastic. And on that happy and emotional note, I'd like to conclude our top 10 games of quarantine and what we're sort of calling, we're spitballing this before we recorded this video, the end to chapter 1 of Back Log Banter. We have been on such a grind the past few weeks of putting out content, of getting used to it, of trying to expand our viewer base and our reach and learn what we're best at when it comes to making content, learning what makes views, what gets our views. We're both very passionate about this. And we really hope that you guys enjoy the content that we make. We've had a lot of fun making what we have, and we're excited to see where it goes from here. We can only hope that that our platform gets bigger, that we can reach more people, that we can have bigger opportunities. And those of you who have been with us, from the guy who commented Olimar's bulbous sniffer on our Pikmin video, to our friend Alex, who has been making memes of us, to my friend Nisk from Discord, who is the only one who interacts with our tweets on the Back Log Banter account, and to Abram's family for liking our tweets, for me getting excited on a notification and say, oh, well, it's just your mom and dad and your girlfriend again. But I've had a great time running the social media account, editing these videos, having a fun time learning how to use Premiere properly, how to make cooler things in Photoshop. It's been a great experience, and I'm going to carry it with me forever. And here's to chapter 2.
I mean, it sounds kind of crazy to say, because I doubt we'll even have 75 subscribers by the time this goes up.
Yeah, no way.
But I grew up watching content like this, and I still watch content like this, and this is the type of shit I watch and I love. And the fact that I'm able to make something with Tucker and we're able to have bullshit around and have fun and make content that I would say that if I wasn't me, I would watch, that's pretty cool. But what's even cooler then is to see a comment from somebody on my Twitter that says, oh, LOL, that clip was hysterical. I can't wait to watch the whole video. Or to see the likes or the views or whatever. It's not about the numbers. It's the fact that every one of those numbers is someone like me. It's someone like Tucker who took the time out of their day to fucking look at me in a cut-off Superman shirt, talking to you about Star Fox 64. It really is badass, and we're not going anywhere. Tucker
We've
made
got plans.
Tucker made a fucking Google Calendar. We know when we're recording, when we're uploading. He's on his fucking game. I'm here to do my part, but Tucker is the fucking meat and potatoes and lima beans of the whole operation.
I love being lima beans. That's what I was born to do.
But guys, thank you so much for everything. The few of you that there are, thank you. I didn't do that show off my arms, but I realized it makes me kind of look like a douchebag and put my arms back down. That's all I have to say.
You know what I have to say is the absolutely shameless plug for my Twitter, which is linked down below, for your Twitter, which is linked down below, for our Twitter, which is linked down below.
3 Twitters.
That's a holy trinity of Twitters. You know, I don't like comparing myself to Jesus, but I think I might be. But I'd like you to follow our Twitters. I post a lot on the Back Log Banter Twitter account. Yeah, but we'll see you guys in another video. There's a lot to come, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
See you guys.
Bye.